Official agenda here.
Welcome to the Elyria Board of Education's meeting for July 21st, 2021. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Here.
Mr. Bax?
Here.
Mr. Elick?
Here.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Here.
And Mrs. Seguin?
Here.
Thank you. At this time, would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. Thank you very much. At this time, I will give you the introductions. At my far right, I have Board Member Elaine Seguin. Next to her is seated Board Member and Vice President Jim Bax. Next to my left, my immediate left, I have Board Member Greg Elick. And then next, I have Board Member Mike Gebhardt. I have Superintendent Ann Sloss, and I have our Treasurer, Joy Clickinger. Thank you.
And who are you?
And I am President Annie Karstafen. Any board recognitions tonight?
No.
No board recognition. Presentations?
No.
No presentation. I have one visitor that has signed to speak for 5 minutes, and that is Eric Bowens of 1212 Lake Avenue, and his topic is going to be Ike Maxwell, support ECS.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't think that's on. There you go.
Check, check.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Greetings. I know I have 5 minutes, so I don't want to take too much time. Thank you guys for having me here. I respectfully request the school district to consider supporting Ike Maxwell Day and adopting the following actions. First, support Ike Maxwell Day and recognize it throughout the district. Support Ike Maxwell's induction to the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame by retiring his jersey, number 42. And number 3, donate a Elyria High football jersey to present to Ike Maxwell Day. Excuse me. Ike Maxwell Day is scheduled for August 28th, 2021. Ike Maxwell Appreciation Day is an opportunity for the broader Elyria community to celebrate the accomplishments of one of Elyria's most accomplished athletes. Ike Maxwell is deserving of this special recognition, and celebration of Ike Maxwell's athletic achievements are long overdue. Elyria City Schools, as a key neighborhood partner, should actively participate in the community-wide celebration. Elyria has a rich and proud sports history. Mr. Maxwell's athletic achievements are representative of that sports tradition. Ike, I want to quote, if you would, an excerpt from New York Times, and it says, I quote, Ike electrified Elyria. During the 1971 season, the city ached for a Friday night when its very own celebrity was guaranteed to humiliate yet another rival. Home or away, thousands of Elyria fans came out to see the shimmy and shake of the phenom Dynamite Ike. Ike set school rushing records for most yards in a game, in a season, in a career. Ike led the Pioneers to an undefeated 1971 season. Ike was All-Ohio, All-America, and was given the award for the best football player and student in Lorain County. It's called the Golden Helmet, end quote. Equally impressive as Mr. Maxwell's athletic achievements are the number of kids inspired by Ike Maxwell's achievements on the football field. Decades later, many of Ike's records still stand and continue to serve as a standard for current Elyria athletes to pursue. I respectfully request the school districts to consider supporting Ike Maxwell Day and adopting the following actions, which I stated earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. I would first like to say that I appreciate your, I think you got my email maybe?
Yes.
Okay. I would just like to reiterate that I am definitely in support. I think I emailed you on the 4th of July to let you know that I am definitely in support. I know Ike, I know the family, And I'm very excited. And in any way that I can be supportive, I would. But I also stated to you that I could not speak on behalf of the board
Yes.
unless I am empowered to do so. And at that time, I was not empowered to do so. But yes, I definitely am in support.
Thank you for your
Yes.
support. And my one question I would like to know, on top of the 3 questions that I posed, how would we go forward to find out if this would be supported through the school system?
I think, would it be through the athletic department or no?
You know, we would follow whatever the board would want to move forward with, so we can communicate, and I can make sure that if it is through the athletic department or myself, whichever, I would follow your directive.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is Ike in the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame?
He is
currently?
not in the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame, and he should be, if you would.
Have you pursued that?
Yes, well, he's been nominated multiple times.
Oh, he has?
Absolutely, Yes. Mr. Gephardt would probably be aware of that. I wouldn't want to throw you out there, but I know.
I'm not on the,
You know,
you got the
okay.
wrong
Tim
Gephardt.
Gephardt is on there. Right, well,
got
the
yes.
wrong
He's been nominated several times, and unfortunately, he hasn't been in, but obviously, August 28th is the Appreciation Day. We want to make sure the community comes out, and we can highlight this and make sure that he does get on, because he's more than deserving to be on.
So this Appreciation Day,
Yes,
like,
sir.
where's this from?
So-
Is this you? Is
So,
this something
so
you're
we have
sharing?
we have an Ike Maxwell Push Committee, if you will. So we have community members that invested in being involved in making sure that we recognize Ike. So we know that the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame hasn't recognized Ike, so we're going to recognize Ike as a community ourselves.
I
And
see.
we're not going to
Okay.
wait for the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame, but we encourage them to do that because we want to make sure that this man gets what his just is.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot about him, but I've heard he's was an unbelievable athlete here in Elyria. So outside of that, I
Yeah.
don't really know that much about
And
him.
if you
yet,
Google
so-
Ike Maxwell, there's a story done in New York Times, which I did a little quick excerpt, and it'll give you a great information on Ike Maxwell's story. There's a film crew here today, and I'm thankful for them to be here, and they're actually doing a story on Mr. Maxwell. So it's a big deal. It's before my time. I'm born in '76. He played in '71. So if I know about it and I'm here right now at the age of 45, it's got to be a big deal because we're talking about it.
Okay.
So
Superintendent?
Where is this going to be?
downtown Elyria.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
downtown?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well,
August 28th again. Yeah.
I definitely heard from several members of the graduating class of 1976, I believe, and they were giving me a lot of history, and they were very impressed.
Indeed.
So,
indeed.
yes,
All right.
definitely.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on. At this time, board member discussion items. Are there any items from any board members?
It's nice to be back.
Okay.
person.
Nice to see you.
You don't have to listen to Jim snore anymore.
Other than that, are there any other board member discussion items? Alrighty, moving on. The meeting minutes. The minutes have been posted. Hopefully, you've had the opportunity to look them over. I will entertain a motion to approve the Board of Education records of proceedings for the meeting from June 23rd, 2021, as detailed in enclosure F1. May I please have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Elick and second by Mr. Gephardt. Are there any questions or discussion? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mrs. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. G is treasurer action items.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, I have just a couple items. Both are routine. The first one is the monthly financial reports, and the second one is approving PNC as a depository. That probably doesn't seem routine because it's only once every 5 years. And those are my items this evening.
Thank you. At this time, could I please have a motion to approve the items recommended by the treasurer?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Elaine Segwin. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gephardt. Are there any questions? No questions? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Elick,
Aye.
and Ms. Karstafen.
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Treasurer report?
I don't have anything except for I would like to move on to the facility construction.
Thank you.
My first request is to approve the addendum to the current agreement with AVG for the renovations to the Westwood and Crestwood buildings as detailed in enclosure J1. And secondly, to approve the AECom Westwood renovation main package GMP as detailed in enclosure J2.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the items of the OFCC as presented by the treasurer?
So moved.
Moved by by Mr. Elick. May I please have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Bax. Are there any questions?
Oh, yeah, I got a question here.
She has a question.
All right, so on the Westwood here, talking in round numbers, we are looking at 11 million without Crestwood. Is that where we're at here? And
Yeah.
then 6 million, are we in the 6 or 7 million number for Crestwood still?
Roughly,
So we're at 18 million round numbers?
correct.
And we have, what, LFI and contingency money is 7 million about? Is that kind of in the ballpark?
Correct.
So we're at about 10 million left to fund the remainder of the entire project, correct? And of that 10 million, we still have ESSER money?
Correct.
So is it safe to assume at this point, we will not have to use any general fund money for this?
That is our hope, but, there's still a lot of things that, whenever you do renovations, of course, you're never for sure. We're hoping that some of the costs come down that have skyrocketed lately. And also with the finishing up of the other buildings, we're not 100% sure of what our contingency return will be. But we're hoping to get to zero.
Okay. Is that in line with our liaisons numbers? Roughly?
Roughly.
Okay. Great.
I mean, there's things like contingencies and things that are still out there that will all get reconciled at the end of the project. And so we're expecting to see how do I say this? We would expect contingencies in a lot of cases to come in less than what we've actually reserved. Okay, and so, assuming that happens, and we have every expectation that will, we should be fine.
Good.
It's not going to be, it'll be close,
It'll be close.
but close is okay.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. To build all these schools and not have to hit the general fund at all is amazing. So that's great work by all the people that are doing this. It's outstanding. So very exciting.
Something else on that, not on those schools, but I see the rocks are gone from Ely.
Yes, they are. And we're working on the landscaping now, a little bit, so give us a little time, but we have some seed down and
What happened to the rocks? They in the pond?
once they pulverized them, for lack of a better word,
Oh, really?
they had to pulverize them because they were so big, and then they took them away. They were able to then cart them away properly. So,
Was that no money to us?
Yes, it was,
I
Mr.
would say it
Bax.
hit the contingency, the owners, or the, I think it was it our contingency, Paul? Yeah, the owner's contingency.
So we couldn't have Brian just push them in that pond and be done with it?
He tried.
Wow.
It was only ding on his evaluation.
Okay. Better hit those weights. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. No other questions? Then, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick,
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to K, which is superintendent action items.
All right, you'll have to bear with me. They're hitting me hard these days with a lot of information, so I'll come up for a breath once in a while. First of all, to approve the owner and architect agreement for the architectural and engineering services for the Elyria High Rathskeller renovation. If you remember, I sent an email a while back that this is all coming from food service money that is allocated towards the renovations for new equipment. Also to approve the contract with Amherst Elyria Taxi, to approve the year 2 and 3 of the contract for the Ombudsman Program, to approve the contracts for the STEPS Education Group for individual students, to approve the contract for the Lorraine County Board of Developmental Disabilities, to approve the contract for EA, Education Alternatives, for the education of students with, for the 21-22 year, to authorize the student transportation contract between the Elyria City School District and EA, to approve the agreement with the ESC of Northeast Ohio, Capstone Academy, to approve the contract with the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Interpreters, to approve the Maxim Healthcare Services for personal nurses, and then we also have a Maxim Healthcare for educational staffing contract, to approve the revisions of the Elyria City Schools Code of Conduct, to approve the 2-year strength and conditioning training agreement with T3 Performance as detailed below, or in, I'm sorry, enclosure K13. Hold on one second, I'm sorry.
Stipends for academic services.
Right, but isn't that personnel?
We're doing it all together.
Okay. To approve the payment of stipends is listed below. To approve the payment of stipends also is listed below for pupil services. To approve the purchase order for CDWG for HB computers and monitors. And that concludes my items under action and under action.
Okay. Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the items recommended by the superintendent as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gephardt. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Elick. Are there any questions?
Yeah. The
Okay.
T3 Performance, how is that going to work? Are we shipping the kids there, or?
Well, so under the wellness dollars that we received from the governor, we can use that. We were going to hire a strength and conditioning coach. We had talked about that over the last couple of years, and with COVID, that was delayed. But then we started looking at meeting the needs of all students in all the extracurricular athletic programs, and we didn't know that one person would be able to do a good job and spread so thin. So we worked with Mike DeAndrea from T3, and they service several universities and school districts, and they send out specialized trainers and conditioning coaches for individual sports. So they will come here, and at times we may send some students out there, but most of it will be on our campus, and they'll be working with students. They have apps that they work through also when they're not here, and they also provide a sports psychologist behavior specialist that will work with coaches, athletes, and there are some parent workshops also. So we're really excited about this. A lot of the districts that do use T3 are very pleased with their help, and I think it's an opportunity for our students and families and coaches that is long coming. So we're really excited. We took, Heather Beck and myself took 6 coaches out there from different sports, and they were extremely excited about this opportunity. So they'll get to work right away, and they'll be on working with each coach to schedule. So
Good.
I have a question about the Rathskeller work that we're doing here. Is, obviously, the high school is only, what, 9 years old, maybe? Is this a kind of need new equipment? Is it worn out? I know we have dollars available for food service, but what exactly are we trying to do here down in the Rathskeller?
It's a little bit of everything, and Mr. Kokai can correct me if I'm wrong, but some of it's, some of the equipment is worn out, but also just upgrading equipment. At that time, we had equipment to do certain things, but once you live it and look at the needs and what the students really want, an impinger, am I correct to say an impinger, which is the thing that you put pizzas through? The one we have is so small and takes a long time. Well, we're able to get a much more productive one that's larger and can do more quicker. So it's really just upgrading it and the furniture to make it more beneficial to our students.
And
Okay.
one thing I want to make sure you understand is that we're getting a lot of federal assistance through our food service, and you can only carry a certain amount in your balance of that fund. So if you carry over that, you no longer get any more assistance. So this was,
Use it or lose it type thing?
And it's
Yeah.
all ODE, Ohio Department of Education, food service approved. So we had to send our plan there.
Will there be any food service at the new kindergarten village at Crestwood? Would we be able to use dollars for this there?
Generally, they don't do structure, but if there's like equipment that's needed, that would count. Any sort of student dining,
furniture.
furniture would count. And then, of course, staffing and then food product would count.
So it sounds like there would be a lot of opportunity
Yeah.
for dollars there too, so.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of stunning to have a building 9 years old and to already be sinking $500,000 into food
Yeah.
service, so. Okay.
Any other questions? Nope. Madam Treasurer?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Personnel action items recommended by the superintendent.
Thank you. First of all, to approve the resignation of the following certified staff below. To approve the appointment of the following administrative staff, and just so you know, we do have a few that are in the audience, so we'll announce them at the end. To approve the appointment of the following certified staff as detailed below, as you can see. We have quite a few. To approve the supplemental contracts of the following certified staff. To approve the athletic supplemental contracts of the following non-district employees as detailed below. To approve the following district and non-district game workers for the 21-22 school year for athletic services. To approve the retirement of the following classified staff member, Linda Smith. She has been with the district for 32 years, so we thank her very much for her time, and she was a great employee. To approve the unpaid leave of absence for the following classified staff member. And that concludes my personnel action items.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the personnel items as recommended by the superintendent as presented?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Jim Bax. May I please have a second?
Second.
Second by Elaine Segwin. Are there any questions? No questions?
Yeah,
Madam
what do you
Tre-
know about this
Oh.
Taylor guy? Oh.
Well, I'm going to let Mr.
Just
Brown
joking,
talk
just
about
joking.
him.
Ready?
Yes.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Are there any introductions at this?
First of all, we'll let Mr. Brown and then we'll let Ms. Barnier introduce the staff that's here, so.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the next team assistant principal at Elyria High School, Mr. Ryan Taylor. Talked to him from the classroom where he's been an ED intervention specialist for the last 5 or 6 years in high school and now is at the middle school level before that. So he's going to be a great addition to our team. Thoughts, Ryan?
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Looks like kind of love, doesn't it? like Kevin Love.
To introduce today, Erin Kanyak. She is a speech and language pathologist for the district. Lisa Lauer. She's grade 4 ELA and social studies teacher at Northwood Elementary School. Thomas Schneider. He's an intervention specialist ED for Eastern Heights Middle School. And Rachel Sakarik, I knew I was going to mess that up. She's grade 6 math and social studies teacher at Eastern Heights Middle School. So welcome to the Pioneer family.
There you go.
Okay. I lost my place.
We have to do one more personnel items, N,
And,
Madam President, yeah, N.
okay, personnel items recommended by the superintendent.
Thank you. To approve the appointment of this staff member, and the reason we had to separate it out is it was actually, it's a replacement for one that was resigning, so we had to do the resignation first,
Okay.
and then the appointment. Math teachers are very hard to come by, so we didn't want to lose this one to waiting any longer on the ballot, so.
Okay,
We welcome Alexa.
okay. May I please have a motion to approve the personnel items recommended by the superintendent as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Elliott,
Second.
second by Mr. Bax. No questions? Madam Treasurer?
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Motion carries. Is that new employee here or no?
No,
Okay,
no.
okay, moving on.
Thanks for asking, though.
You're welcome. Superintendent's report.
Just a couple. First of all, I just want to do a huge shout out to our staff and families for our extended program in June. We had over 80 teachers sign on, and after the year we had, that was huge because, they were worn out. And so we had 80 teachers and principals and other support staff working during this time, but we also serviced 550 students in our program in June, which is amazing. And we have another big push coming in August, but I'll give you those numbers we're really excited about. So very proud of that work, and thank you to everyone. Also, on August 27th, mark your calendars, tailgate is back, and we're going to have it out at the stadium for the home Bedford game. As you know, on the 20th, we play EC, and they're doing a big alumni night, so we thought that was needed to have its own night. So we're going to do the tailgate on the 27th, and we're going to have it under the pavilion out there, and we're excited about it. It'll be the ability for anyone coming to the game to get a meal beforehand. I know Chef Mark is doing his best to provide us a very tasty meal, and put that on your calendar. And that's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. Board of Education. Board of Education, Board Policy and Regulations, first reading. I guess, do I have a motion to approve the first reading?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mr. Gephardt made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bax, would you like to elaborate on those, or no? It's just
Yeah, just briefly,
discrimination.
basically, it's just an update of two policies regarding the district's non-discrimination policy, and also a revision and an update to the discrimination complaint procedure. Okay,
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's in order.
Okay.
Mr.
Madam Treasurer?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. No executive session.
No?
Is there anything else to come before the board at this time?
I have one thing.
right
I just
ahead.
wanted to ask Mr. Taylor, at that EC Elyria High game, what color he'll have on?
I'll wear my red tie.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Smart man.
You're talking about the sports. Is there any update on how everything's going with the new conference? We're 100% in now, right?
Very-
Moving forward?
Yep, very excited. I actually had my first meeting in June. I was not able to go to the golf tournament. I'm waiting to embarrass myself till year 2 with the golfing. But Heather's been going to meetings. I know Mr. Brown's been to a meeting. So they've been very welcoming, and we're excited.
So we're anticipating a lot more energy down there at the stadium with all the local schools. So
Absolutely.
That should be very exciting.
Absolutely. And a lot of them, in calling about the T3 program, a lot of them use the
they
same
do?
programs. So we're really excited because we're hoping to intermix some of our student athletes and do a lot of work outside of the field, so to
Good.
speak, too. So
And I'm assuming it's going to cut down on a lot of travel with the kids,
Oh,
too?
yes.
Won't be going all over Ohio anymore? so-
we'll actually save quite a bit of money in busing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, that's exciting.
Okay. Is there nothing else to come before this board this evening? At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion approved.
Could I,
So
motion?
moved.
And a second.
And a-
Second by Mr.
Gephardt.
Gephardt. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bax?
Yes.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Ms. Karstafen?
Aye, thank you. Consider yourself adjourned.